First things first, I want to pull out to Judy Garland, who's celebrating her 100th birthday in heaven right now. So good for her. Congratulations. This is Waddle. I can't. I'm only 19. So yeah, because of that is why they brought back The Wizard of Oz to the movie theaters. It's 83 years old, and I think it holds up extremely well. Now, this is a movie that pretty much everybody has seen. You know, I can't think of somebody who I know who hasn't seen it. It's just a very probably like the most popular movie of all time. Of course, there's no way of knowing that, but I'm just gonna say it is. Now in this video, I'm not gonna talk about all the behind the scenes shit that went down, cause yeah, pretty much like the entire cast either got injured or just permanently scarred mentally and physically. So I'm just gonna talk about it as a movie and ignore the bad stuff. One thing the movie does is it brings you back to that like childhood imagination. It really brings you to a place where fairy tales are real, back to a time you didn't know the difference between reality and fantasy. It's a nice little time capsule like that. Now, yeah, of course, the original Tin Man had to drop out because he had an allergic reaction to the makeup, and good old Wicked Witch of the West, see, caught on fire because of the effect. And my girl Julie Garland once again pulling out, got a good old amphetamine addiction from the movie. But honestly, you know, I think it helps the movie's legacy in a very strange way because there's all these rumors and ghost stories and disputes and all this stuff that adds to the movie's folklore and makes it larger than life, not only in the movies, but behind the scenes too. And let's just, talking more about the movie, when Dorothy wishes she could go somewhere far away, over the rainbow, I'm sure lots of us have felt like that. I feel like that all the time, my life is boring. I mean, it's probably not as boring as Dorothy, she just sits on a farm all day. But, my life is very boring too. Everybody has a boring life, and, it's just a sense of escapism, or yearning to escapism that we all feel. It's the same feeling Luke Skywalker got, or Frodo Baggins. Just, they all wanted to go on an adventure. And whole boring life in Kansas, it's not just black and white to have that huge, oh my god, color movies exist now. It's also the fact that Kansas is very drab and gray. He yearns for the color, hence over the rainbow. At the beginning of the movie, Dorothy's kind of looked down upon by her aunt and uncle. They just see her as just a little girl, and she kind of wants to be taken seriously, but nobody really cares what she has to say. And that's exactly what Oz is. It's a place where people do care what she has to say. She goes on this big adventure, she accomplishes stuff, and she meets the friends Scarecrow, Tin Man, Lion, and they represent all these things that not only they have to learn their arcs of being brave or smart or have a heart. They also represent what Dorothy herself wants in life. And the Wicked Witch, of course, is kind of Dorothy's feel, the dangers she has to overcome. And man, Margaret Hamilton does a great job as the Wicked Witch, I gotta say. And then there's Glenda, who is kind of like a mentor figure to Dorothy in a way because if Glenda wanted to, she'd just be like, scene one, just tap your feet, go home. But she knows that Dorothy has to grow up and, think things out for herself. So she sends her on this quest. And I feel like she kind of represents the parental figure Dorothy wanted. I mean, of course, she loves Uncle, fucking what's his name, and Aunt M. But they aren't exactly guiding her. They're just like, come here, let's walk on the farm. She wanted somebody to actually push her to be more think her own thoughts and do what she wants to do. But then again, Dorothy loves Oz, and she loves the people in it, most of them, except for those dickhead trees. But she realizes she'd rather be at home, because as much as her aunt and uncle kind of look down on her, she realizes that they do love her, and she just wants to see them again. She gets homesick. And I think a lot of us could also relate to that. I mean, everybody's parents annoy them, but if you go away too long, you start to get homesick, and you'd miss them. Judy Garland completely carries this movie. You know, she was only 16 when they filmed it, but she just has such a good like stage presence with the wide-eyed uh, kind of oh my god, what is going on here face, which is relatable, but she doesn't seem too freaked out by it. She embraces it in a way. I also like her relationship with her dog because also adds another level of relatability. All of us love our dog. All of us just love hanging out with the dogs. And when the dog's life is threatened, she's not in it. She does not like it. That she's probably the most terrified in the entire movie when the dog is about to be taken away. Now, a question I have is like, where are Dorothy's parents? Because she lives with her aunt and her uncle, so she doesn't live with her parents, and I feel like there might be a little connection to like why she doesn't feel right in like at Kansas sometimes. I mean, of course, she loves them, but it makes you wonder like what happened to the parents. That's just a question I have. Like, you know, where's Mr. and Mrs. Gale? Also, which one of them is actually related to her? Is it M or Henry? Like, which one's actually her? You know, which one's by marriage? Which one's actually related to her? I guess it doesn't really matter though. But Judy brings this like, as much as she is wide-eyed and optimistic, she's also vulnerable. And when she's scared, it helps us care about the situation. Because if she is stoic and she's just like, it's okay, I'll take care of this, then it's like, oh, okay, then why do I care? You know, why do I care if you're in danger then? But she does have this kind of like honest vulnerability to her that makes you care about her. Also, this movie is like very strange. There's all these like very strange elements that don't make like quite much sense. Like, there's this scene where all the Munchkins are singing, and and then like one of them just pops out of the ground with this big like drain thing. He just pops out, and it's like, what was he doing down there? Why was he there? Does he live there? Was he working on something? We don't know, and it's never clarified or mentioned. What is he doing down there? Why, when they sing and run, they move their arms like this, like to see the wizard? It just doesn't make sense. Why do they do that? The songs are really good though. I like the songs. Why do they do that? Also, this movie did Talking Trees before Tolkien did it, and I don't exactly know if the trees talked to begin with, or the Wicked Witch made them talk. I don't exactly know what our goal is here because see, when he wanted to kill, I don't know, like she couldn't kill Dorothy apparently because he has the ruby slippers on. But then later in the movie, she just tries to kill her anyway. So it just doesn't make any sense. Like if she was going to kill her, why not just throw a fireball at her and then that's it? Like why go through the trouble of making sentient trees to throw apples at them? Like what's that gonna accomplish? You know? Like for being that wicked, she doesn't actually do that much. But you know, here's the thing. I don't care. It doesn't matter at the end of the day because it just looks visually stunning. I mean, obviously, you could tell when the wall ends, and you know, you could tell they're not really outside. But I feel like that adds to the experience. You know, like it feels more kind of dreamy and whimsical when you realize, like, it's just obviously a stage. And I have really mixed feelings on the dream aspect of actually it being a dream because on one hand, making it all a dream kind of lessens the stakes in the movie. So it's like, let's say Dorothy did die when the time all flipped. It's like, okay, so you just wake up. You know, it's not exactly a big, like, it lessens the stakes. But on the other hand, it's like, well, it does make sense that all the characters in the movie are people she knows in real life. That makes sense, because we do see people in real life in our dreams, they're just playing different people. But, you know, then again, it kind of removes the stakes of the movie. I prefer the book, where it wasn't a dream. By the way, those books are insane. Like, you think the movie's crazy. These books are like super dark and twisted. I've read them all when I was like little, when I was like probably like 10 years old. I was super into these books. Man, they were crazy. They were crazy books. Oh my god, I should do a video on that someday. Just kidding. I don't have time to read all those again. In the book, the Tin Man, or the Tin Woodsman, he like he was put under the reason he's a Tin Man, he was put under a spell where he uses axe and chop all of his limbs off. So they had to put him back together. It's fairly dark and weird. I love it. So the artwork's horrifying. But this isn't about that. This is about the movie. One of the one of the weird things though is like not only is Professor Marvel the wizard, he's also the guy at the front gate and the guy who drives the horse. So within the dream logic, I mean it makes sense because he's playing different people, but at the same time, I see the wizard playing one of the characters because the wizard has to have a normal life somehow, but why both of them? Wouldn't people notice that the wizard was both the guy at the gate and the guy who drives the multicolored horse? It just doesn't exactly make sense. Do none of the Emerald City residents realize that, or are they like in on it? I'm just really confused there. I don't get it. Again, you don't have to get it because it's a dream. But yeah, the set designers are crazy. Like they're just so good at this. The whole world is just so colorful and just beautiful scenery, but also a little creepy, little scary. Not like super scary, just a little creepy for the little kids to be like, oh, the Wicked Witch is mean. Dorothy is a three-dimensional character. I feel like her friends are kind of silly, but they get the job done. They're really funny too. The movie has like real positive messages of going your own path and being smart, brave, and having a heart. Though I feel like even though the Scarecrow's not the brightest man, and Cowardly Lion is definitely a big coward, Tin Man was always had a heart, so I don't exactly get that. Also, some of the musical numbers work, some of them don't. Like, I like the ones in Munchkin Land because it's just such a bizarre scene. It's just so weird. I love it. And then I like the ones where we meet the Scarecrow and the Tin Man. But then I'm like thinking like, well, why did they not have the Cowardly Lion song about him wanting to be king? Why did they have that when they first met him? Why do they have that like 20 minutes later once they get to Emerald City and they just have this random pause? It doesn't make any sense. Like they should have moved it earlier, but whatever. But this movie is not like any other movie, you know? 1939 was a pretty good year for movies. They had Gone with the Wind, it's very good. This is also very good, but it's different. It's more magical, I feel like. Whether they had the same director. He had to leave he had to leave this to work on Gone with the Wind, and you can't exactly see much. Can't really see much similarities because they're filmed very differently. But they're still both good. I guess the similarity would be that they both have really good music in it. But yeah, the whole thing's about excitement, our sense of wonderment, trying to you know have a more interesting life, but at the end of the day, you're like, well, the life I have now is pretty good, so I should look for the good things. And I think that's a message that still resonates 83 years later. So, something, I wonder if, like, the people who made the movie knew that it was going to be so popular years later. So, yeah, once again, pouring out to my girl Judy Garland. You were the best. Sorry they treated you like shit. And let me know what you guys thought of The Wizard of Oz down in the comments below. It was a brilliant movie. So, until next time, peace.